happy now. Now is the vibrate, of course, not going too far in the future, not going too far in the past, right now. Matter of fact, it's funny you say we're not going too far in the future because that's what I want to talk about right now, going too far in the future. And I'm gonna bring it up on the premise of one of my DMT trips. My big DMT trip. I call it my big one. I'm like, like this the old school. Y'all probably don't remember that, but Elizabeth, I'm coming to meet you. It's the big one. You know what I'm saying? Like, the youngsters, y'all don't even get it, but Fred Sanford. But anyway, my DMT trip where I really had that ego death really, went to the realms that you go to after you transition. I went a lot of places and seen a lot of things. Matter of fact, it reminds me after now seeing Full Metal Alchemist whenever they was swapping bodies on the human transmutation circle and the realm they went to when they died. And he saw so many things 'cause that's what a DMT trip would do to you too, whether a DMT trip, Akashic Records. But like it hits you almost like when they tell you when you die, when you transition and life passes, in front of your face. You know what I'm saying? But there's a bunch of other things that pass in front of your face on the DMT trip. And in some cases, I know for mine, you get what you ask for, you know. And in some cases, you know how you could want to know too much for your own good. Now, in essence, that is what happened to me, but everything happens for a reason. And it happened to me for instance I got shown a lot of truth and reason why I talked about not going too far in the future because if you see too far into the future, like say for instance if you find out, it's just like watching a movie, you know what I'm saying? If you're watching a movie and somebody like, oh yeah, so and so died in this and that, it's like, oh damn man, there's no point in me watching the movie. And and that's how your existence could be, on earth, you know what I'm saying, in this incarnation where, if your spirit guides or if you somehow, just got all of the future, you just found out all about it. Matter of fact, that's why all these cartoons and movies are always depicted as, don't go changing stuff, leave things the same, that would probably be the only way where you would be allowed to. Because honestly, that's why I got a glimpse of it, is because I knew I would be able, Source knew I was gonna be able to maintain while still knowing, what's going on. But when you too far in the future, that could throw your growth off, you know what I'm saying? And it almost did for me, and not say throw my growth off in a bad way. It almost just had me speeding it up, cause not only the fact of just seeing what the basis of the matter of fact, cause when I say the future in this DMT trip, the better way to explain it is the eternal now, you know, quote unquote the future. You know what I'm saying? But it was more about me getting truths to the universe that really kind of just changed a lot for me. Matter of fact, because one of the main things too is where I didn't fully denounce being a Rastafari after that trip, but I definitely knew that like we are more than the little vibrational historical relationships that we build on Earth. That's the probably the best way to say that without going over nobody's heads and which I don't care about offending the ego, but I still don't want to offend, but it basically let me see like, all right, that's why I have so many videos, especially after that point where, hey y'all, we are vibrational beings, you know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, and I'm here to provide, that's my thing with me being in this incarnation. Of course, enjoying myself, but like bringing, helping everybody with their spiritual growth and their ascension process, and letting them know what the universe is really, really about, instead of like sugarcoating and baby walking. Of course, you got to crawl before you walk, but some of us ready to walk now, and when the students are ready, the teacher appear. But in essence. like I saw too much. Like if I find out, and say for instance, for you, you find out like how much of a vibrational being you are and how much of your humanity is what makes everything separate. And you got like the big picture, like you got downloaded this information. That's another thing. Just like with consciousness, once you see something, you can't go backwards. Once I saw that all these little names we like to call our spiritualities, our religions, all this. Once I saw that that shit is just some human, it's almost like how a human would look at some chickens fussing in a chicken yard, like in the chickens, you probably can't really understand them in essence, but they know they like fussing about what side of the den they from and I'm a chicken of this bloodline and I'm a chicken from this bloodline. That's how I really started to see it. Is like, nah, it's more than to even be fussing, because that's the thing. Why I always say like, oh yeah, make sure you get your indigenous knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Because it has been taken away. And it's important knowledge. But at the same time, don't forget that your true roots is even further past that knowledge. Also, you know what I'm saying? That's just the knowledge to get you, you know, on course while in your humanity. But it's more to it. As a matter of fact, I remember not that DMT trip, but another one which was kind of like the first, just letting me know of, a lot of truths, in the universe. Where I came out of that one and it made me so much different, you know what I'm saying? Like I always would explain like how a DMT trip would basically help me get rid of my ego because it would always let me, feel and know that vibrational truth of existence, and taking me out of that humanity, that illusion of humanity. And that's the thing where, but sometimes you you know, don't want to see too much. Because even now I'm kind of holding back a little bit, not holding back, it's more of, and that's another thing I got, that certain information is just not meant for certain people at certain times. Now, I have shared the deepness of some of this information with certain people when Source allowed me to. You know what I'm saying? That's how deep it is, because it, like something in my heart and in my body, like, don't tell that person that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, all right, I don't want, you know what I'm saying? Because if you drop too much on a person, it's just like a weight bench. Same thing with knowledge. You drop too much on a person, they can't lift it up. You know what I'm saying? They gonna choke. They gonna choke. You know what I'm saying? That's the same, kind of like the same metaphor. The same analogy. As a matter of fact, that's what I wanted to say. Like, I got so far into seeing the future of knowing our existence. Well, I come out of there. That's when I first was on my growth. I was like, damn, they're trying to become a breatharian. A year ago, I was basically trying to get there with people like, Corey, you don't never eat. And ask the people around me, my family members, friends, like, man, you just drinking water. I think I have water with a little green tea pouch and some lemons, and I was barely even eating Lara bars because I was just like, I'm bringing this dimension down. Like I'm gonna do it, now. Like until the voice hit, like until I had to, until the intuitive voice and my spirit guides got loud and loud on the point of, wait, like yes, we gave you this knowledge and we allowed you to, see how far and how deep, this universe is, but take your time on you. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to just spring right into action per se, but just keep use the knowledge as a reference. Use what you saw in that DMT trip. Use, and like I say, like same thing with your life passing behind before your eyes, where I just see a bunch of stuff. And matter of fact, you start to see like just why like a computer, we built just like computers also. Sorry, computers are built just like us in the essence too, of like with DMT trips. You're getting these downloads of information, but you can only get as much as you could handle and as much as you could hold. Because if you got too much of it, then you won't be able to hold it, and then it's worthless. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like, crashing a computer where you put too much stuff on it and the RAM crashed because it wasn't even able to handle all the information. But matter Matter of fact, because I remember that was another trip too I had where I was telling you just to express yourself. Like I'm gonna have to tag this video to this one, you know. But in matter of fact, like too, where you get that realization of God is everything, not a roster, not a Christian, not and when I say it's not just a roster, it's not just a Christian, it's not just a Hindu, it's not just this way of spirituality. God is every single thing. Man, I don't say God, I want to say source. You know, source is everything. You know what I'm saying? And that's another realization you come to where to kind of just make you, and you wonder why, like a lot of people after DMT trips and all this, and we like, I'm not really in no spirituality person, you know what I'm saying? Like, because we got shown that realization, you know what I'm saying? And that's something that other people can't pry away from because they either choose not to, and you know, we all got our ways of doing what we want, of dipping into our ego as far as our growth. Some people choose not to act upon that truth, and some people just really don't, never had that truth. That's why they act the way they act, you know what I'm saying? But when you come across that truth, it's just you know, no turning back. That's why people dodge conscious uh like Instagram or dodge conscious people if they're not, eating healthy and this and that, because once they hit a certain information, then it's gonna kind of, in essence, they're gonna have to change, after hearing how insane they're living and knowing that their conscience is not, not ignorant and gonna want them to change after hearing that information. It's like, oh no, let me, go the other way. Let me, what I'm saying? That's where the dodging of the information come from too. Not trying to, get that lesson. But yeah, once you find out, man, that that essence of being a vibrational being, and knowing that they're, you know, that how eternal and how infinite this universe really is. I'm talking infinite, y'all. Like infinite. Like beyond the imagination to some, but to some it's not. And I don't mean that to like, because that's another thing. When I clown, if I do that, I'm just clowning because I don't like try to egotistical, make no little inferior, superior complex, like, oh, we DMT trippers, we better than the ones who ain't. Nah, we all get our different lessons at different pace, at different time. But, you know. But definitely going too far in the future, could affect your living right now. Like I say, if somebody tell you the end of a story, or you go and find out too much about what you doing in this incarnation, I was allowed to see, a little bit, but it's not to necessarily just be shared like that. Y'all gonna see what I know as I grow and as I show, along the way, I just can say I did get shown a lot of, like I say, what I'm here for in essence, and just taking my time with that, When I say taking my time, it's just, certain little pace for everything. But that definitely, that's why we always say too in the beginning of videos, not too far in the past, not too far in the future. Right now. Like I say though, in that DMT trip and then being in the future, it's kind of still the infinite now, just getting glimpses of certain things. But yeah, after that, and that's the thing too, because if you go too far, you could see that story or whatever, like I say with the movie situation, then it kind of mess up with you even wanting to go forward in life, because it could go for better or for worse with finding out, say for instance, for the simple example of finding out that we all source and we're here for eternity. You could like, like, oh well, shit, to hell with this lifetime, just do, act as well, what I'm saying, do whatever, what I'm saying. It could throw you off for better or for worse depending on how you handle the information. Because also too, with DMT trips and being too far in the future, which is just saying my notes, but I just thought about it. Well, you could have so much far ahead information, and you know it's true. 'Cause that's the thing too, and this where the crazy people come into play. Well, matter of fact, the movie 12 Monkeys, where Brad Pitt was playing a crazy man, that that role he was playing is the kind of like the example. One of the other guys that was in a crazy house, but that's the example where something about the future, but the rest of humanity just not on that wavelength. So when you come to bringing up this information, it's like, fucking motherfucker crazy talking about the pyramids was moved with frequencies, and we not human. You know what I'm saying? Like, that information could be too fast. Matter of fact, because honestly, that's the vibe too of like being a alchemist, a witch, all these things, dealing with magic. Well, that's why we was burned at the stake also, because we was practicing real truths. You know what I'm saying? But not only because the matter of fact, because I felt like I lived in that time where the Crusaders might have got to me, the Catholic Christian people, when they was killing everybody. Not only everybody, they was trying to push something else on to people and close that information, but a lot of people wasn't ready for that information. And the same thing, and like to say, for instance, there are things that I only tell certain people. Like I said, with one of the truths, where with certain things from my DMT trip, I can't share with certain people you know. And I don't care about nobody thinking I'm crazy, but it just doesn't pay when somebody can't perceive, you know, what you're talking about. Cause then then there's no genuineness and no feel good in the sharing of the story. Cause it's like I just told you this, and you know, can't even grasp the concept of it. Nor do you probably want to, cause it's so far ahead of the situation. But that's where the quote unquote crazy people. That's why when I see people around, matter of fact, like I see people in the street and shit, like people, homeless people, people, matter of fact, not homeless, houseless people, because they do have a home in essence, is where they make it. But like I see some of these houseless people, and it seem like they talking to themselves and this and that. I ain't gonna lie. Now after DMT trips and shit, I be like, boy, I wonder what knowledge he spit, or what entity he talking to, or she. You know what I'm saying? What they, what's going through those dimensions is up in there. Cause I bet you they probably be on some shit that's very, you know what I'm saying, that could give them a Nobel Peace Prize possibly, but because they, and then too, cause in their head, and that's where you could also, be seen as crazy. Cause I had that little momentary situation with my ego that where I thought I died, and I was in that mode, and I'm like questioning, like, am I tripping back? Like you, and it's like when you come across some of these things, it could even possibly throw you out, where it could almost be too much for you to even handle, even though you seeking this information. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oof. It's like, all right, I didn't know it was this real. You know what I'm saying? But that's the thing, when you get too much of a bigger piece than you could chew off, it could definitely, mess with your growth. Because, like I said, if you find out too much, you find out the end of the movie, then you ain't gonna want to watch the movie no more. You know what I'm saying? That's why I got spoiler alerts. You know, and that's why, like, with our spirit guides, ancestors, and the way they contact us, that's why they don't just download, just give us truth straight up, because we on the experience. Like, if they just let us know everything about everything right now, that's almost like Abraham Hicks used this analogy, like, well, we come down here to create. Do you want to right now eat every food that you wanted to eat on your experience right now? Like, like every food, like right now, do you want to go through the experience of it? You know what I'm saying? So, you don't necessarily want all of that right now. You don't want the angels and spirit guides to just tell you the whole movie, because not only is it going to probably mess with the way you dictate your movie, it may mess it up for the worse, you know what I'm saying? But, like I said, it wasn't even really meant, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's something that's just, it could mess up the movie for you. Let's put it like that, man. And we don't want to mess up the movie for nobody. Because then that's when people take the movie out. You know what I'm saying? Whether, take the movie out the VCR and stop watching. And probably go on their transition, whether self-induced or whatever, but that's the seriousness of this situation too, like with DMT trips and people coming back, crazy and not, because matter of fact, like my trip, like, and I was telling my brethren them that I'm like, for one, I really realized that there's not no such thing as a bad trip. It's only on the type of person you are, and how you deal with the information you got and the intensity in which you got it. You know what I'm saying? How you deal with it. But I feel like that's the best, best trip ever. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, I got so much realization from it. You know what I'm saying? Like I really learned a lot. You know what I'm saying? So that's all you know, on you. But I was about to say I could see how some people you know, turn crazy, you know what I'm saying? Because even when I was on it and I was trying to figure out whether I had transitioned, whether I was dead or not. And it's like, man, should I go down the street? And I live right by, but I'm like, nah. And then two, I felt that my thoughts were manifesting things quick. And even though I had somewhat of a control over my thought, but not really because it was so everywhere. And say, for instance, I kind of, when I had that one little thought of maybe the police could, think I'm crazy and grab me, I'm like, nope, don't go nowhere. Because if you focus on that as you're, walking around, you're going to attract that, that situation real quick. So I was like, nah. But I definitely could see how people, quote unquote, go crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, 'cause I got a lot of information, and just dealing with that could make you go crazy. Getting so much of truth and not really being able to share it. Living in a society where people living insane and messed up, and you know, where they could use some of this information, but because they can't grasp it, you gotta hold it in. You know what I'm saying? That could also create a little, it's like, man, I want to share it. That why you think we feel so good as indigos and star seeds when we come across each other and we could actually talk. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have to baby fight, and, kind of like when I sell my crystals and my jewelry, and well, this one is good for your intuition. This one is good for vitality. I get those little easy terms that's easy digestible to people that don't deal with stones or deal with astral projection and contacting spirit guides and out of body experience. I don't bring all that up. And depending on if I feel the vibe of the person that I'm selling to. But I don't bring all that up because I know that person ain't, grasping. Even though sometimes I have to back, well, this stone here, you could talk to your ancestors, but because of your perception, they won't actually be talking to you, but it'll come through as feeling like your own thought, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, it is a lot of good information that comes down on DMT trips, and matter of fact, DMT in your own journey and in general, because that's another thing too. I always tell people this is all things that you could do yourself. I'm just sharing off of my experience, and that's when I would get intense experiences when I would, uh, be dealing with the DMT, and it really, puts me in those realms. But I have reached like super realization moments through meditation, and but with and let me correct that because meditation is supposed to be clearing your mind, but in some cases I have the type of meditation where I'm clearing my mind first to then allow certain little channels to come through. You know what I'm saying? But that's basically it, man. Going too far in the future could mess up your incarnation, your story, you know what I'm saying? And that's why from our spirit guides, from source itself, don't let only the chosen could see. I say chosen, not no pedestal. Just the people who is meant for it to be for, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be for you, you know. And just know that everything is gonna be all right. Matter of fact, that Bob Marley song that sometimes give me the chills because that was playing at a certain point in the trip. That I was getting a certain realization about something that would make you cry in essence, and that song came on, kind of telling me, "Don't worry about a thing." Man, this gonna have to be the type of matter of fact, I already see the type of things I'm gonna want to put on my Patreon account. I guess certain things where you just gonna have to, Matter of fact, speaking of the Patreon account, I do accept PayPal on this YouTube channel. Matter of fact, before I end this video, you know, dollar donations, anything is greatly appreciated from a dollar, to whatever, whatever you feel I deserve for the information I put out and the information that from all my old videos to now, you know what I'm saying? If I'm helpful, and you see fit, if I wasn't helpful to y'all. Matter of fact, because I could have been helpful for you, but you ain't got a dollar, and it's still cool. But definitely would appreciate the support and donations, and I appreciate all the support and donations that have come through. It is greatly appreciated. I appreciate the people support me with my jewelry, because in essence, that's somewhat like a donation, because that's a mutual energy exchange, allowing me to do things with it. But everything is greatly appreciated. I'm gonna end on that note. Peace. Happy now. Now is the vibrate. We're not going too far in the future. Now we just talk about that. And we're not going too far in the past. Right now. Peace.